Good morning, everybody. This is Stephen Pugh of the Home Bible College. It's March the 5th and we're looking at the last chapter of Mark, which is chapter 16. And we have a number of small passages here. The first one refers to the resurrection of the Lord Jesus. The second one is the little passage in verse 10 and 11 where the Lord Jesus appeared to Mary Magdalene. And then verse 12 and 13, it's where the Lord Jesus appeared to the two on the road to Emmaus. Verse 14 to 18 is the closing passage where the Lord is described as appearing to all the 11 as they sat at meat. And he also commissions them to go into all the world and preach the gospel to every creature. And then the very last part, which is 19 and 20, we see the ascension of the Lord Jesus and the description, the very brief description of what happened to the apostles after that in the Acts period. So let's look at some of the original verses. In verse 1 it says, "And when the Sabbath was past, Mary Magdalene, Mary the mother of James, and Salome had brought sweet spices that they might come and anoint him." Now these three women knew that the Lord Jesus had been buried hurriedly on the eve of the Passover, on the preparation of the Passover, the Bible calls it. And so they came very early in the morning on the first day of the week to the sepulchre at the rising of the sun. So the Sabbaths were ended, and now they're coming on the first day of the week that they might anoint the Lord. But they are discussing among themselves. They say, "Who will roll away the stone from the door of the sepulchre?" But when they looked, they saw that the stone was already rolled away. It had been very great. You see, these three women together couldn't have moved it. And entering into the sepulchre, they saw a young man sitting on the right side, clothed in a long garment, and they were frightened. And he said unto them, "Do not be frightened. You seek Jesus of Nazareth, which was crucified. He is risen. He is not here. Behold the place where they laid him. But go your way and tell his disciples and Peter that he goeth before you into Galilee, and there you will see him, as he said unto you." And they went out quickly, and they fled from the sepulchre, for they were trembling and were amazed, and neither said they anything to any man, for they were afraid. Now when Jesus had risen early the first day of the week, he appeared first to Mary Magdalene, out of whom he had cast 7 devils. Now in another gospel we see that this took place in the Garden of Gethsemane. It was a personal appearance to Mary in the greatness of her grief. Then in verse 10 it says, "She went and told them that had been with him, that as they mourned and wept, and they said, and they, when they heard that he was alive and had been with her, they believed it not." You see, Mary Magdalene was not believed. Nobody believed that what she said was true. That is, amongst the disciples. So the Lord Jesus then appears to two on the road to Emmaus. They're leaving Jerusalem, and they're off for a long walk. It's about 8 miles. And they went and told, and the Lord Jesus appeared to them, and they went back and they told all the disciples that were left, and neither believed they them. You see, it's funny, isn't it? How that even the resurrection is not believed. Nobody believed in the death and the crucifixion of Christ before he died. They just didn't believe in it. They didn't want to believe in it. And when he rose from the dead, they didn't want to believe in that either. They just had hard hearts, and they had unbelief. Now, people say, of course, they were always Christians. No. Christians believe in the death and the resurrection of the Lord Jesus, and these disciples certainly didn't do that. Afterward he appeared to the 11 as they sat at meat, and he upbraided them for their unbelief. See that? and hardness of heart, because they believed not them which had seen him after he was risen. And then he said unto them, Go into all the world, and preach the gospel to every creature. He that believeth and is baptized shall be saved. He that believeth not shall be damned. He also tells them that there will be signs, there will be apostolic signs that will follow those that believe. In my name they will cast out devils, and they will speak with new tongues, and they will take up serpents, and if they drink any deadly thing, it will not hurt them, and they shall lay hands on the sick, and they shall recover. So this is a fair description of the Acts of the Apostles, when the apostles and their disciples went out preaching the gospel in all the world. And then verse 19, and so after that, after the Lord had spoken, he was received up into heaven and sat on the right hand of God. How do they know that? They have a vision of where the Lord Jesus went. They don't just see him leave. They have a vision of where he actually ended up. And he went forth and they went forth and preached everywhere. And the Lord was working with them and confirming the word with signs following. You see, the purpose of the word was the gospel to be preached, and it was to be heard and believed. But to those that did not believe, there were signs which were a confirmation of the truth of the message, and it was specifically for those that didn't believe. So there we are. That's the end of Mark's gospel. My password for today is verse 15. He said unto them, Go ye into all the world, and preach the gospel to every creature. Preach the glad tidings to every creature. What is it that we preach? We preach that Christ has died and has risen from the dead and is seated at the right hand of God. That is the gospel. Well, God bless you. Look forward to speaking to you again tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Bye for now.